Hi, this is Andrea, and this is Health Information Technology 210, Chapter 13, Part 5. This will be the final section that we will do on CPT coding, so hopefully that will make it easier for you. On this one, you actually get to see my face in addition to hearing my voice as well while I walk you through this. I'm going to really quick pull up the internet. I'm going to move off Screencast-O-Matic. I wanted to go back and show you how to get to where you needed to get. Okay, if you look on our basic homepage, Course Home, under announcements, you'll see important online code books. We have been using CDC, but that one was only for ICD-10-CM. Now this one is going to be for CPT-4. You're going to go to 3m.ahima.org. You're going to put in, this is NEI001, password of AHIMA number 77. This is through the college. The CDC site you'll always have available to you, but the one through AHIMA is just college related. So just keep that in mind. So if you click on that, what you're going to see is this screen right here. And this screen right here should bring up for you this. Okay. All right. You don't need to do anything with this because this is primarily an encoder situation here. And this is going to be for inpatient hospital coding. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to reference. And this is really the important part of all this. If you click on reference, you see, oh my goodness, they have tons and tons of things. So really quick, I'm going to show you some of the main things you're going to want to look at. There is a code book on here. So if you don't want to use the code book or the online electronic CDC website, you could always come here. We're going to spend most of our time in the CPT code book, but I want to just really quick show you some of these other things. We talked about coding clinic guidelines, and you can see those here. There are CPT assistant coding guidelines as well. So we'll talk about this a little bit more over the next couple of weeks, but you can come here to see CPT coding guidelines at CPT Assistant. They have a pharmacology drug reference. They have a Dorland's medical dictionary. They have anatomy plates. Coding clinic for HCPCS, and we'll be talking about HCPCS codes in a couple of weeks. They have a coder's desk reference for procedures. So if you're trying to figure out, oh, what procedures what does all this include in this procedure, that's very helpful. Sometimes there's you might need to figure out what the lay description really is in terms of the medical terminology for that. This helps. There's an anesthesia crosswalk. There are coding handbooks. Mosby's Manual of Diagnostic and Lab Tests is very helpful. That's one of those that you might want to go to if you're not quite sure of what you're doing with tests. There is a dictionary for acronyms and abbreviations. There's a definitions manual, a Merck manual. Hopefully you're all familiar with that. And then if you are coding interventional radiology, Dr. Z's products are phenomenal. I have used those in the real world many, many times, and I would not code interventional radiology without using his products, his books, and going through his training courses, because interventional radiology is complicated, complex. It's up there with trying to code some of the most complicated cardiology procedures out there. So if you by chance end up working for a radiologist, I'm not saying you will, but if you do, make sure if they do any interventional radiology procedures, that you're going to have to code that he or she purchases for you Dr. Z's stuff, and you can go online and look at that. Okay, so these are very good references for you. You will find much that will help you, but where I want to go right now is CPT, Current Procedural Terminology. So let's click on that and see what happens. Alrighty, this is what it shows us. It gives us the table of contents. All right. And this is going to be just like we talked about with the book. Remember, we talked about the fact that you have your guidelines, you have your chapters, so to speak, or your sections. You have your appendices. Remember, A through P are appendices. A is modifiers. D, add-on codes. We talked through some of those. And this gives you some of the other things that are in the appendices. You probably won't use them much, but just it's good to know that they're there. There are CPT codes that are exempt from modifier 51. There are CPT codes that are exempt from modifier 63, meaning you cannot use those with those CPT codes, and this gives you a list of those. Here are some CPT codes that include moderate conscious sedation. If you're talking about those colonoscopies with Versed, that's an example of moderate conscious sedation, and there will be a list of codes there for those. And then there is performance measures. We talked about those. Product pending FDA approval. And there you have it. So all of those. So, all right, let's go to E&M. Let's just really quick go through that together. There are guidelines. We'll just start with the guidelines. And it gives you what they are. So you can kind of look through them and see. Here are instructions for, this is instructions for selecting a level of E&M service. And it goes through all the things that you'll want to consider and see. Here's the table and all of that. And then you just click here to go back. Okay. Or forward. It gives you what was before it, what's after. This one will take you, I think, there we go. It'll take us back. Okay, so we were back at our E&M guidelines, and then these are all of the sections underneath the E&M. So if you were doing office, we'll click on that. This is where the E&M office codes. So you've got office or other outpatient visit for E&M of a new patient. See, notice new patient, new patient, new patient, new patient, new patient. Okay, so that gives you new patient. Okay, and there is a way, let me see, we'll just do that. Okay, established patient, established patient, established patient, established patient, like we said. And you just keep moving through. Oh, observation, observation care. And it tells you under each code what's all in there. There's a link to the CPT assistant. You've got the CDR and the HCPCS that'll also help you. So just click on those. You can see what it says. Okay, this is lay descriptions. It helps you with the coder's desk reference. And HCPCS, this gives you the coding clinic for HCPCS. It tells you about what's going on here, what changes, when did they. So for instance, if you were coding observation for chest pain, you would want to go here and take a look, and it would show you what the answer is, what you should be doing. All right, so that kind of helps you with what you need, and you could just click on, what you're looking for. Again, we talked about a lot of these. Non-face-to-face services are telemedicine, so you can think of that. They are face-to-face, but they're through a computer. Or maybe they aren't. Maybe it's over the telephone. Maybe it's through the computer. There's all sorts of things going on these days. Okay, up here, this will take you a list of the coding references, displays the table of contents, how you can enter a keyword and search the index. You cannot hurt the system, so go ahead and play with it. Try and figure out, test it. Just click on something. It won't break. Worst case scenario, you may have to get all the way out, shut down your internet or your internet browser, and then go back in. But I would say just explore and and try and see what you can do, because eventually when we get to our workbooks for chapter 13, you're going to be clicking on the section, or you're going to be putting in a term or a code. Let's see, colonoscopy. Let's just do that one. So it's going to think for a minute, hopefully. Maybe. All right. Oh, it's not wanting to work for me today, especially when I'm in the middle of taping for you, videotaping for you. Such is life. All right, let me try something else. Let's see. Let's see if it'll help me with carpal tunnel. It may not. There we go. So sometimes you have to click next. But just, again, play with it and see what you can come up with. I think it's my internet that's acting up. I'm sorry. More than your situation, but or more than anything. So, okay, here we go. This is nice because it will give you some of the details behind it. So let's say I have a colonoscopy. It's going to send me to this section for endoscopy. And it's also going to tell me there's information if it's an ileoscopy through a stoma. These are all topics that have coding tips associated with them, so that could be good. Let me do carpal tunnel and see what that does. There you go. So you've got some other information here if it has anything to do with carpal tunnel. But I really wish that this was working. It's just not wanting to work for me today. Murphy's Law, you know. Murphy's Law. All right, so anyway, play with this, get used to it, and we will work on it together. I think we start on chapter 13 next week after, soon. So hopefully you've had a chance to watch all 5 videos, and hopefully you found them helpful. Hopefully you've come here and you've played in CPT and taken a look at the codes to see kind of what they are and the information behind them. And hopefully you'll have better luck with a search button than I did. I'll have to get that fixed before we Zoom again. All right, I'm at 14 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. I hope all is well with you. Don't hesitate to look at some of these other references for ICD-10 or CPT that you want to do. While you've got access to it, play around with it and figure it out. And I believe that is about it. So take care, stay healthy, hug your loved ones that you can actually get close to, and we will be in touch again soon. Take care.